Theories under this realm believe that dreams come from the brain's attempt to interpret cortical activity or that dreams help forget unnecessary information. Another part of this theory is that dreams help aid memory and consolidate things that were previously experienced.
Is it the fact that I had this rush and I had to kind of like calm myself, then I had to sleep and go through a dream to kind of let me process because I was trying to escape, so the dream was for me the stage to process what was happening.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Human Library Podcast. Your host, Medhi, Aslan, and myself. And today's topic, the psychology of dreams. Let's start today's topic with what are dreams and what is a dream? Well, a dream is a succession of images, ideas, emotions, and sensations that occur for the most part involuntarily during certain stages of sleep. They're not based on real life necessarily, as you can walk on landscapes you have never visited, spend time with friends you've not seen in 20 years, fly high above your hometown, all in one dream. Dreams have been studied by science, religion, and philosophy throughout history, and yet still not fully understood. We do know that most dreams occur during the rapid eye movement stage of sleep, also known as the REM cycle. Is where the activity in your brain is high, much like when you are awake. What are they used for? Psychology experts say that dreams are used for problem solving and routine brain activation or maintenance rather than for personality development, mood training, or truth finding. We're going to discuss furthermore different approaches on theories about like the psychology of dreams, but this is like a standard type of definition. When it comes to understanding the psychology of dreams, there is no single answer. It depends whom you ask, basically. There's an example that if you dream that your teeth are falling out, it means that someone close to you will die. This is not necessarily universally agreed. The interpretation of dreams are very different according to the psychologist, to the perspective, to the theory used, and many other aspects. There's also one thing called lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming, it occurs when the dreamer is aware that they are in a dream and that they are able to control events within that dream, whereas regular dreaming often includes symbols and narratives that are generally outside of the dreamer's control. What do dreams mean to you? Everyone dreams, and our dreams can affect us strongly. Going through a process of dream interpreting can help you determine what aspect it represents in your life. So basically, dream therapy and the interpretation of your dreams. So saying the basic of the psychology of dreams, I guess we would like to jump into different approaches.
Yep, different aspects.
Different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Well, if I may still have the floor, I would like to start with the father of psychoanalysis, just a basic overview of him, and then like everyone can, of course, jump in and give some information. Of course, for whom doesn't know who is the father of psychoanalysis, is Sigmund Freud. He was born in 1856 and died in 1939. He was an Austrian Jewish neurologist who is considered the founder of psychoanalysis. He's known especially for his work on dreams. They're considered groundbreaking because of the most part, his contemporary thought that dreams had no significance, right? He has this really cool book. I cannot pronounce it in German. I will try. It's Die Trudentring, The Interpretation of Dreams, on 1899.
Just sounded like gibberish.
Probably. For all our German speakers, I apologize beforehand. Basically, a quick recap on his theory. He believed that dreams were a manifestation of our deepest and sometimes darkest anxieties, as well as our deepest desires. He tied dreams to repressed childhood fixation and memories. He believed that our function of dreams was to release the sexual tension that each of the dreamer had, and these dreams had sexual meaning, regardless of the age of the dreamer. He said that also the dreams are closed in this idea because of what they represented, or the sentiment that the dreamer had, that it could be such taboo that they will be repressed and they will be disguised with images and symbols. So an example that we can say about like the Sigmund Freud psychology of dreams is that, let's call this guy Richard. Richard one time saw his mother's breasts and he got infatuated sexually with his mother's breasts. But because this is very not socially okay and is very considered like the sexuality of taboo, especially back at the time, where this is a real example of how he portrayed it, by the way, his theory. Then Richard went to sleep and had this dream that he was walking in the street, saw a nun like praying, and then he tripped and fell on the nun. Later on, he went searching for Sigmund Freud's help because he was very like with a lot of anxiety, very anxious. He had a lot of issues with this dream and he needed someone to help him discover what this meant. So where he goes with Sigmund Freud and he explains this dream, then it was the work of the analyzer, of the psychoanalyzer, in this case will be Freud, to explain the dream to the dreamer. So he explained the idea that because probably the non-praying meant an idea of a representation of her mother, which is like a saint, a very like high status for him that is interpreted as a nun. Him falling into her was like this sexual tension that he had as a young man. And the idea of falling was that it was not okay for him to have these feelings, and that's why it was being repressed in his unconscious. So this is a very basic information, a very basic example, sorry, of the theory of dreams from Sigmund Freud. I also, one thing I keep forgetting to mention, he divided the idea into the id, the ego, and the superego, right?
The human psyche.
Exactly, the human psyche in his way, in his map. So the id was kind of like the truest, purest form. Then the ego was like trying to maintain balance.
Yeah.
And then the superego was like the super depressed and suppressed desires and everything that was like buried within the person, right? And then basically our day-to-day was our ego, trying to maintain this like cognitive awareness and social behavior and personal behavior and family behavior into the standards and norms. The superego was everything that were like your desires, what you actually really wanted to, but you were not allowed because of family reasons, social reasons, or because it was just, as he said it, taboo. And then like the id was like the purest form and nature.
You know, a good metaphor to explain the ego and the superego is well, it's in the film. It's perfectly explained. The film, I think it's called Psycho. It's like so there's the basement, there's the like living, like the first floor when everyone lives, and then upper floor is like where his mother lives, his old mom.
Okay.
And she always like gives orders and like tells him stuff. That's the superego. So it's like the voice shouting at you from above, the authority.
What you want to do, right?
Yeah, like no, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And the normal like floor is when the guests come in. Like it's like this is your ego. Like like you enter my home, here everything happens.
Everything seems nice and arranged and in order. And this is what people see of you.
Exactly, because people don't go up and
exactly.
like
They're not allowed. Yeah.
And then the basement is where he does the murdering, I think, or something. I think that's what it is. But you can also interpret it that way, where the basement is the id.
Is everything
the
like
urges, the secret repressed urges, and that's where he does the murdering. So that's a good example to explain to people how these things function in Freud's theory of personality.
That's very nice, because I believe that the id was like the purest form of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then how this movie is represented, the purest form of him is being a like a serial killer.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's actually cool. Just like an FYI to everyone.
So you said dreams represent the purest form of the person?
No, according to Sigmund Freud, dreams represent all the desires that are like repressed within an individual.
Yeah.
So, like the example that I made with Richard is that he has these sexual needs and urges that are not meant
Yeah.
because they're considered taboo. So
Yeah.
he's repressed. And then the moment he sees his mother like dressed in a little way that he feels that he gets like kind of aroused, then between his sexual tensions and this his sexual needs being repressed and the idea that he got aroused by seeing his mother, then the two things got like
Okay.
into like a ticking bomb that is not allowing him to actually process all this information, and he has these crazy ass dreams and he has these feelings that when he wakes up that something is weird with him or not well. So that's why he seeks help with Freud.
I see.
And it was like the example that he tells this dream to Freud, and Freud, who is in charge of psychoanalyzing the dream for his patient, comes up with the conclusion that it's probably because he has the taboo of his sexual like needs covered, and then the interpretation that he's seeing these sexual needs in his household being portrayed by his mother, which is more taboo and more like more bad in a social behavior. So that's why he falls into a nun. You know, these type of things.
I see. Yeah. It's kind of like, so what we're observing here is kind of like the dream trying to, like, it has symbolisms
Yes.
that you're,
Yes.
so it's not like you're not seeing a dream reenact exactly what you're experiencing.
Never. Yeah, your mind will work in an aspect that will show you images or symbols that will represent something within you that is not open for the public.
So you have to trace it back to the feeling or
Yeah.
to the emotion, a thought.
Yeah. So, for example, Richard was a Catholic, a Catholic Christian.
Yeah.
He went to church, for example, every Sunday. He like highly considered, highly status the church. So for him, like nuns and priests were like high value. So in his dream, the aspect of having a nun praying like with a cross on her hand, it's a saying that, and like it's a representation that there's a high value person in his dream. But at the same time, he has a sexual attraction to her because he falls into her. So according to Freud, this could mean that he has like sexual needs being repressed because it's not considered socially acceptable, you know? So he immediately just like puts it back in the back door.
I see. Yeah.
And then the idea that there's this like high woman in his dream where he falls in, then taking a closer look to his household because he didn't have sisters or anything, then that would mean that it was his mother that he had like a sexual fixation for a moment.
Yeah, and it's all around the repression.
Yes.
It's all around, it's like things that throughout your daily life that are being basically repressed because it's not, it's not like allowed, or it's taboo basically.
It's taboo. It's like forbidden. It's like social, but it's forbidden in a social group.
Yeah.
We have to think that back at the time, like this is still like late 1800s, early 1900s.
Is it like Victorian? Or is it after Victorian?
After,
Okay,
a little bit after. It's like he also gave like treatment to First World War, like like people with PTSD, and he treated them overly, and.
But that time in Europe also, repression was a big thing.
Yes.
Like I think Freud is also kind of the product of that time in a way.
Of course.
Like
of course.
his analysis is very much focused on this.
His ideas
Studying the people from that era.
That's the thing. His ideas nowadays, the majority of his ideas, they don't go very well with the.
They raise important things, but they don't go as deep into, like, they're not exploring everything. They're focused on one little aspect.
No, but they're outdated. They're outdated. He also believed that certain behaviors came from our genealogical tree from even the Ice Age.
Okay.
Like for centuries and centuries back. And these ideas were even outdated back at the time, but he believed that this could be an example or an explanation of why humans behave the way they behaved, right? He also believed that kids also like kids, young kids from the age of 4 to 8, for example, they still they had sexual needs, they had sexual energy, they had like they needed to interpret sex, but because they were still kids and they were like repressed
Yeah.
because of education and their family, and the only people that they saw love, like giving love to each other, were their parents. So they portrayed the sexual energy repressed mainly toward their parents. For example, this is one of the many ideas that he had. That
Yeah.
nowadays, like he opened the door. He's considered the father of psychoanalysis because he opened the door for like future doctors and future like psychologists
course.
to like
He started the whole thing.
yeah. But nowadays, if we go into his theories, there's some things that
Yeah.
do not make sense at all. And there's other
course.
things that might be like,
Yeah,
we'll leave it to the viewer at
Yeah.
at the end of the day, right? But like,
definitely.
still.
I think I think there are a lot of important contributions that he did, which is like the whole, like the idea of the subconscious itself. I think he's
Yeah.
the first person to kind of explore that.
Dude, his book, the Interpretation of Dreams, that was written on 1899.
Yeah.
There's still a book that nowadays is recommended to read. Like,
In universities,
Yeah,
they still
yeah.
like his
Jordan Peterson recommends this book to the readers because what he says, and I kind of personally agree with that. I don't believe that dreams come randomly. They're
Yeah.
just random acts of like
neuronal firings, he says,
Yeah.
like random neuronal firings.
Yeah,
That's
no.
kind of very scientific, cognitive
be-
explanation of dreams.
that's actually one of the theories of the dream. One of the three dream theories that we're gonna go through
Yeah.
like
Nice.
in this episode. One of them talks about the cognitive interpretation of the dreams, right? And that's the same thing as Freud was saying, that there must be a meaning behind the dreamings, like the dreams. There must be a reason behind the dreams. The only thing is that he focused more into like the dreams come out from the unconscious because they're suppressed. It's everything that you don't wish to talk about, everything that you don't wish to other people to see, or everything that according to society is not very well seen at, or
Yeah.
so everything is like, I know,
Taboo.
taboo. That word in his work is said over and over again, taboo, because it is taboo, right?
Yeah.
Still nowadays we think like in
We still have a lot
of
of
sexual
taboos,
taboo.
so
Yeah.
it's like I mean, I feel like we don't want to go into that, but I think in general there can be made an argument that to this day, even though there's been a sexual revolution,
There's still a
actually
lot of
not
taboo.
really a revolution. That it's like the same it's kind of taboos, but in different ways now. Like there are different taboos now.
Also depends in which society you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, let's say
like
in
always, right?
Western Europe, let's say, still there are some taboos, I'm sure.
Oh, no, of course a lot, even within certain families, right?
Exactly.
What do you think, Medhi?
Yeah, jump in anytime.
I'm very, very entertained, and I didn't want to disrupt the conversation that was going on.
Adriano just went all in like the first.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing. I like the introduction, and I like the fact that we started with Freud. What I want to say is, at the very end, I was thinking about two things mainly. So, is there really a meaning behind the dream, or as long as we dream, there should be a meaning? I think it's two things that we need to consider. The fact that we dream means that there is something behind it, or there is actually a meaning behind every dream. Because from my personal experience, I look at some dreams, I cannot find meaning per se, but there might be a meaning. And in other ones, I feel that this actually makes sense. Like I can correlate some stuff that I was feeling before the dream, or some events to the actual dream. I would like to say something related to what Carl Jung believed in. It's like the conscious mind. It's like a ship, and it's going in a huge ocean, which is the unconscious. So like the unconscious, we feel that we have control over many things in life, but the unconscious always drives itself by the motives and the different oppressed feelings that we have in life in general. So dreams could be a good way for the unconscious to transmit some messages to us, and to remind us or prepare us for some stuff that we're not really realizing or considering in that time. I think also the word interpretation of dreams, I think it's very hard to have an objective interpretation, because you're always going to be biased. For example, if you really like Jung, for example, Freud, there is always a sexual desire or sexual oppression behind dreams, for example. There are in mythology, or like in some religions, if you see someone in, let's say, in a specific attire, there should be a messenger telling you something. Or in different cultures also, the way you deal with dreams, for example, if you see a nightmare or if you're dreaming about bad things or someone dying in your dream, then you should not talk about it at all. In some cultures, you need to go to the bathroom, maybe say it there and then flush or something like that. Like there are many ways of the interpretation of dreams and dealing with dreams according to the school of thought that you believe in, and the mythology or the culture that you're coming from.
Dude, and this is amazing what you just said.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because then we can see that actually, like, many ramifications of humans trying to figure out what the fuck dreams are, and different aspects. Because, as you said, back at the time, like when we go back into like pagan times, like if you had a dream, it will be like the gods visiting my dreams. There's a message being told through me. There's something I need to do. My dreams are speaking to me,
Ancient
right?
Greek
Yeah. When we go
people.
to mythology as well, it's like Zeus came into my dream and told me that this is going to happen. This is a bad omen, or this is a good omen,
Yeah.
or this kind of stuff. Then, like, oh, I don't know, like Jesus visited me while I was sleeping, and he told me to. I think that's like how the Mormons came into place in North America. I'm not entirely sure to begin with, but I'm gonna say this. I think he had a dream, and that's why he rewrote the Bible, the Mormon Bible.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure about this, but I think something like this happened.
Watch the what's the play? The Book of Mormon.
The book on Broadway?
Yeah. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Going to.
No, but I think actually it's something like that. Many things have come through, like, to humans through dreams, right?
Definitely. And like the question is like, where does it come from? Because if you really want to ask, like, how does it appear out of nothingness, right? Like that's the really, well, it doesn't, but
There's actually the theory X. This is not the other three that we're gonna discuss, but this is theory X. It states that dreams are often a reflection of things that happened when a person was awake. The resting brain is retrieving that information, digesting it, and living from it. Also believed to be the stage in which memories get eliminated, updated, or edited. So what it's meaning is that all the information that basically was processed while you were awake, the one that was not being able to consciously process, it goes into the dream stage of your unconscious. And then your brain will manipulate this information to change your memories. That's why, like, even nowadays, when there's like a witness for a case, they don't necessarily, a witness is a strong evidence that something happened depending on the time the crime was committed, because the memories of humans get modified through through time. And theory X says that the dreams are like a reason why memories get updated, modified, because of the amount of information that we're seeing, right? So this could be like the different aspects of why, like, if you have like religions, psychology, like personal or whatever, you're always trying to figure out what a dream is. And that's why it's like familiar, like a dream is familiar to you. If dreams didn't came out from the information that you are like you're retrieving when you're awake, the easiest way to explain this is like when you see a horror movie and then you have a nightmare about the horror movie, then this wouldn't happen. You know, this is like if dreams were random and they were just like coming from out of the blue of your imagination, then you wouldn't be able to have nightmares coming from for seeing a movie like a horror movie,
Yep.
because that is literally the information that you saw prior. It affected your emotion, it affected your psyche, and then you dreamt about it. So that's an example that the dreams, like the information of the dreams, are from when you're awake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna. That's very interesting.
Go, Aslan.
I wanna just bring it back to the thing we mentioned about the ancient people and how it was when you dream of Zeus coming into your dream, it means it's like a bad omen or like whatever the message is. You take it very seriously, right? So if we take this theory and like bring it into this, it means that basically let's from a rational psychological perspective, it's a dream then would not be literally a god visiting you in your dream, but it would be something that let's say throughout your waking life, things that you're not processing, they appear in your dream as a symbol, whatever your symbol of your culture is for like authoritative voice.
Yeah.
Or like the dream does like that's a fascinating thing about dreams, that it does the whole
Work for you.
Yeah, it builds this narrative of like, hey, Zeus telling you something, where in reality it's like something that you're ignoring, for example, or things you're neglecting.
The information is there.
The information is there.
And you're awake,
Yeah.
but you're not being able to register it.
Exactly. Or you are not doing like you're consciously not putting it away, maybe.
For X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
You know,
but then in your
dreams-
dream it appears to you in a narrative form. Yeah, go ahead.
Dreams right now sound like a piece of art. Like there is a nice message behind it, and even the way it's symbolized, it's very interesting. But what I'm thinking is the interpretation is very difficult. For example, let's say someone is dreaming of I don't know, hiking in a mountain. You can say that it's a symbol of a pursuit of something noble or something like that, but it could be also like the fact that he was thinking about just hiking, you know. So the study of the interpretation of dream, I don't think it should come just from the dream itself. Like there should be a deep analysis of the events before that, the study of the characters, the person itself, the culture. You should put in front of you all the data before you think of interpreting one of these dreams.
No. And we're missing something out. We're leaving out something very important. Is one of the main things of the interpretation of dreams is the feeling that you have during the dream.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you felt when you were dreaming? I felt anxious. I was scared. I felt happy. I felt like exuberated.
Jealous.
I felt jealous. And then it's like, why do you feel jealous? Because when I was walking up this mountain trying to reach the top, I saw that I was the very last, or my sister was in front of me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why do you portray this as your sister being in front of you? It's like, I don't know. Well, there's something there that we need to work on. You know what I mean?
And then also, there is a way to do it is by trying to ask questions about what everything means in the dream. Like, what does this remind you of? Like,
Exactly.
What does your sister remind you
Exactly.
of in your dream? So then you start forming like a network of different
Exactly.
meanings in the dream.
No, this is actually, I wanted to add this for the viewers, because what Medhi said before is actually right. It's not like, well, I was just dreaming that I was like going up the stairs.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, how do you feel going up the stairs? Well, I felt like I was very slow going up the stairs. I felt heavy. And how long did it took you to go up the stairs? I felt it was ages. Like it took me forever. And when you reach the top, were you like, what happened there? I opened the door and I saw the sun coming out of the sky, but it was dark. Even though there was the sun, it was kind of dark.
Yeah.
Then you start analyzing the aspects of the dream per se.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it becomes clear to you in terms of like, okay, what was that? What it means? What was I feeling during that moment? Like, or like even if you go up the stairs, imagine, and you're like, oh, I kept going up, but I never reached.
Exactly, you never reached
something.
the thing.
Yeah,
and I was
that also means something.
Yeah. And also it's personal. That's why that's one of the things that Freud used to say that I don't totally agree with him in his theory. He said that the psychoanalyzer, it was his job and his duty to interpret the dream for the dreamer, which nowadays, when it comes to dream therapy, if I'm not mistaken, what the psychoanalyzer or analyst is doing is just paving the way for the dreamer to figure out what was he dreaming and the feelings that he had in the dreams, and where does these feelings are coming from.
Yeah,
It's
I think
mainly
Jung
guidance
said
and
that, like,
assistance in that process.
Yes, well, yeah. Well, Freud said like, you're dreaming this because of this, this, and this. Period.
yeah,
There's nothing else.
That was
And it
his
was like-
ego speaking.
Yes.
He
And
knows
it's
his
funny
shit.
that he called like the dude, and it's funny how he called the normal person ego, but then like everything else is the super ego, right? Like the super, like the other, all the other aspects of like, I want to do this and this and this and this and this, and I feel this, but that's wrong. Then you just fucking repress it on your
yeah,
brain.
yeah.
That's the super ego, you know?
It puts everything in a very limited framework
Yeah,
that works for his theory only.
only. Exactly. And it feels like it's the opposite from Nietzsche in a point of view, because Nietzsche talks, this is totally opposite as well, but just an idea. Nietzsche talks about the superhuman, how to become the best version of yourself, and he talks about the superego, how like the worst version of yourself is out there to get you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also Jung mentioned that when you're doing a dream interpretation, whenever there is a certain, like you think of different what the objects in your dream make you feel or make you think of, and sometimes when you reach a certain interpretation, you're like, aha, like you feel like this is it, and that's a good moment to like really, like that's probably what it is. If you really feel like, aha, I got this, like
Yeah.
this is it, then that means you're forming like a connection. You're kind of uncovering the subconscious content, and you're like, like you feel there's a connection, kind of.
He also like,
Yeah, that's it.
correct me if I'm wrong, but like with 90% of his work, his amazing work, he's also focused a lot on the shadow, right?
Definitely.
So like also like the interpretation of dreams for Jung was like all the shadow aspects of a person.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be similar to Freud's?
Yeah, because Freud, in a sense, because Freud was talking only about the shadow, but I don't think he called it shadow because he wasn't into archetypes.
No, he called it into taboo, into the repressed desires,
Yeah.
into sexual
It's
desire,
oppressions.
tension.
It's kind
Yeah.
of similar. It's two different ways of saying the
your shadow
unconscious kind
is-
of.
Yeah.
But he was more focused
your
on
shadow
the
is-
oppression of sexual desires, not the fact that you might have like some other terrible experiences that doesn't per se
Exactly.
connect with any sexual desires, and that's what's different about Jung. Also, it's interesting to mention that Jung studied a very important number of cases, dream cases, because he was very deep into doing research. I think it's 80,000 dream cases or something like that. That's from the research that I've done, and I think, you know, even the interesting part is, for example, when it comes to someone being killed in a dream, it could have different interpretations. It could come from hatred to that person. It could come from a deep love to that person, and it could also come as, you know, like as a wake-up call. Sometimes there was this example of the person who was dreaming about his son getting killed or something like that, but it was a sign for him. It's as if he was not doing good as a father, that he dreamt of his son being killed. It's like a wake-up call, you know. It's like preparing him that he's not really doing well. It's like that guilt feeling transmitted into the message of his son being killed, like the worst thing that can happen to his kid, and he needs to like rethink about what he's doing and his relationship with his son. But also, if sometimes you dream about someone being killed, you're probably thinking about that person that much, either come from love or or hatred. And from my personal experience, I think I dreamt about some specific people being killed that very close to me. Like there is a kind of unconditional love. And well, the way I understood the interpretation of my dream, and that's by myself, I didn't do like dream therapy or something like that, is that the fact that I was thinking too much about the uncertainty of what can happen to them in the future, and that's like this kind of worrying, the fact that you're not very close to them, like distance wise, you're in another country, something could happen to them, like you think about this feeling too much that you think about the person dying, for example, in a dream or something like that, but it comes from worrying and
Like a
overthinking
powerless
about this
feeling.
person. Yeah, like the fact that you're worrying about this person but you cannot do much, like you're kind of helpless. So like you see this person dying in front of you in a dream, it's like it's something you cannot control. It's like morality, you know that it's happening, you should not worry, kind of. That's my personal interpretation. And again, we're always biased towards how we interpret things, but I also feel that it's very important for the dreamer to be able to do some kind of analysis and research to understand the roots of why he's, or she, to be inclusive, why the person is feeling or dreaming that way, like what's behind it. It's also a self-awareness exercise, if I may call it this way, because that's
Yeah,
your unconscious afterwards.
I agree.
Like it's something that you should understand and analyze.
The only thing that, for example, for this, it becomes a little bit tricky, is that nowadays there are like stated meanings for certain things when you dream of. So I said the example before, like when you dream if your teeth are falling out, like you're losing your teeth, it means that someone close to you will die or something like that. This, for example, is very known in the country I'm from. It's still like if you dream that your teeth are falling down, someone close like with you is going to die, and then you get like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But that's not necessarily like the entirety of it.
But what
It
does
might
it what
mean
does
that
it
you're
represent?
afraid of losing relationships. That's the
So
thing. It might,
is it that you're afraid about a person being died? So the symbol of that is you losing a tooth, or
for 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 example,
what's the reasoning behind it?
like we're close friends. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's at the same time, becomes a little bit of an individual interpretation of the feeling after it.
Yeah.
For example, we can be very close friends, but we got into an argument, and that day I go home, and then in my dream I'm just having a coffee with Aslan, and then when I see my cup of coffee, I feel that two tooth came out, and I see them floating on my coffee, and then I wake up with anxiety trying to figure out what that means. That could mean that I feel that our relationship is in peril, and I'm feeling that I'm losing two tooth like coming out because it's him and me that are getting out of
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
That's an example. That's what it
But
becomes
is that a
tricky
common
with
dream?
interpreting dreams.
Sorry. I'm
There are
just
common
interested to know.
dreams.
Is that one a
There
common
are common.
dream?
For example, when you lose hair, it's a common dream. I'm not entirely sure about what I'm gonna say, but I believe so. I think Freud actually gave symbolism to common dreams, like the one of losing your teeth. Like when you lose hair, it means that something might happen. I don't remember exactly well what the behind the dream meant, but what was the other? They say that if you die in your dream, it means that you're gonna live longer. That's another thing that in my country they used to say. For example, like if you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
killed on your dream or something, it means so like
It's weird. It's
But
kind of like
that's the thing. This interpretation of a dream like that, it means that it was a message from a supernatural power that knows that you're gonna live longer. It's not an internal
if
thing
you
to
want to
think
put it
of,
in a religious aspect, then yes.
because
yeah,
otherwise,
it's kind of
like the
like
interpretation, the fact that I'm dreaming about me dying, if it means that I'm gonna live longer, what's because I can fairly understand the other ones, the oppressions or the bad events, and then there is a sequence, like you understand kind of the pattern, or maybe also human needs, like wet dreams, for example. Like you have a kind of sexual oppression or any like sexual arousal, and then you dream, and then you have a wet dream, for example. That's a need, that's a human need, for example. So it's kind of understandable to dream about like a nice girl or something like that. But when it comes to something that it's out of the internal stuff that you can understand, the fact that if you die, it means you're gonna live longer. Okay, according to who? Is there like there should be like a kind of study. If you dream, you need to report. If you have this specific dream, you need to report, and then we track your lifetime span and we see if you're actually gonna live longer or not.
Well, I mean, it's not set on stone, right? But it's like a social idea of what this dream actually means, because also
Yeah.
it depends culturally, this kind of stuff. And I'm actually happy you brought about like the different type of interpretation of dreams, because I think it's time to jump on the three different ones that we're gonna discuss. Let's go for the first one. We're gonna go one by one and discuss them and see which one is the one we actually keep for ourselves, and then the viewers, you will decide. So the three main theories of dreaming. This is the physiological theory of dreaming, which is the physical body dreams. These theories of dreaming discuss how the brain processes information and how it manifests as a dream. Some theories believe that dreams are simply the result of trying to make sense of the high amounts of cortical activity. Theories under this realm believe that dreams come from the brain's attempt to interpret cortical activity, or that dreams help forget unnecessary information. Another part of this theory is that dreams help aid memory and consolidate things that were previously experienced. So, for example, when you go through a traumatic experience, your brain will shut that memory off. You won't have consciously remember what happened because it's too much for your brain to handle it. So it just literally blocks it, puts it on a little fucking cube and throws it at the back of your brain. But then you dream of it constantly. This is an idea of the cortical experience, that your brain is recopilating all this information. So like when you go on your day by day, the information that you see around you is so much that your brain cannot process all of it at once. So it just throws at you between 15-25% of it, and the other amount is just gather information, like a old camera, like, and then it just gets thrown at the back of the brain. And then when you dream, is like this information that you had stored there, and it's thrown at you in your dreams, and they get like all crazy and stuff. And another way of interpreting dreams, is that when you're conscious, it feels more like masculine energy, point by point. While when you're dreaming, it feels more of a feminine energy, which is like everything everywhere all at once type of thing. Like everything is thrown out there. That's why you can be riding a sea turtle in the air and then like jumping out of somewhere. But it depends, right? So this is one of the theories of dreaming. So I guess the
What I'm thinking about
be
now.
like,
Go for the question. Sorry, thought you were done.
no. First, you go. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm thinking
Go ahead,
about
man.
is, for example, sometimes, and I'm thinking now also about a personal experience that I had with a dream. I don't know. By the way, we need to have an episode about déjà vu, because this feels like a déjà vu for now, like for me, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
We can talk about it afterwards. So one of the dreams that I had, and it kind of stayed remarkable in my mind. When I was a kid, I was in a very intense verbal argument with a big guy who was like, there was a 15 years difference. So I felt like this physical threat that it's coming. Nothing happened physically, but it was a very intense like verbal argument. And then what I remember, I was probably like 11 years old or like 12 years old, something like that. I remember that I went home. I went to my room and then I took a nap. I don't normally take naps especially when I was a kid. I didn't used to take any kind of naps. But then it was like a kind of escape to the rush that I had, thinking about this physical threat. And I remember that I was, in my dream, I was dreaming that I was running. And at some point, I was about to fail, and then I actually did the movement with my leg as if I'm running, and then I woke up. Like it's out of a physiological reaction, let's say, and physical reaction that I actually woke up from that dream. And now, since you were saying that, I was thinking, is it the fact that I had this how's it called? The adrenaline rush. Is it the fact that I had this rush and I had to kind of like calm myself, then I had to sleep and go through a dream to kind of let me process, because I was trying to escape, so the dream was for me this stage to process what was happening? And was it the rush that made me dream, or the fact that I was thinking about it is when I was sleeping, it was signaling to the mind that I still feel the threat, so I need to go through another stage. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It feels like the emotion that you went through was too intense for you at the moment, that you had to like take a step out of the situation, take a breath, but you never came back into it. So when you
Yeah.
went to sleep, like your subconscious did it for you.
Yeah, it's like I was trying to throw it to the void, like just get rid of this threat.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't escape it. Even in my dream, I had to dream about it to actually process the feeling that I had. It's like I wanted to feel
Yeah.
numb by
I mean,
sleeping and not deal with the feeling itself. But then I felt that feeling in the dream. It's like I couldn't escape it. It's something that I had to process somehow.
yeah, and it's an intense emotion, you know. Um, it was so much information for you that you had to, like, exactly what you said, just throw it to the side for a bit, but it's something that you had to go through with it, right? Um, for like in my experience, has this happened to me when I had like a very traumatic experience. I totally forgot about something I went through. I remember, I have this memory like very foggy to begin with, and I just kind of remember of like kind of like sliding through the day, and then like it kind of forgot, and then I had a dream about that day, but it was very, very intense, and I remember like dreaming the entire day, but I was like a little kid. And then when I woke up, like the memories came back and I started crying. Yeah, like really, really intense. And then it was like, okay, thank you. I needed to like go through this, and then I felt like very good the rest of the day. But it was like, like, what the fuck did I just dreamt of? And then like the memory came back to me, and it was like 5 years ago. It happened a while back, and it was like, fuck, man, you know? And I don't know. At the end of the day,
That's an
viewers, we're
interesting
not
one.
experts in.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah,
interesting one.
but dude, it is insane, right? Like, I don't know if you want to share anything. You're allowed or not.
Yeah,
That will be up to you.
I can't think of anything right now. But
Always say less than necessary.
Yeah. Theory number 2, we're gonna talk about the psychodynamic theory of dreaming. The psychodynamic dreaming, which is very interesting one. The psychodynamic theory of dreaming follows Freud's ideas that dreams are meaningful, and the major function of dreams is wish fulfillment. Dreams, under this theory, certain deep desires and needs are buried in the unconscious. So these type of theories, they follow the father of psychoanalysis, first dream theories, which state that every dream that you have is because there's something that needs to be interpreted out of it. There's something meaningful. There's a wish that you need to fulfill. There's a desire that you're not actually accepting about yourself. Maybe, like the example before that Medhi said, that wet dreams could be an example of this type of theory, because you have a wet dream because you have a sexual desire, a sexual need that is not being
Fulfilled.
fulfilled. So exactly. So therefore, you dream about it. This is one of the best examples we can tell our viewers. What do you think, guys?
And the one that everyone could relate to.
I mean, we're human at the end of the day.
Yeah. No. But if you're thinking about dreams, we all have different dreams. But I think this is a common one. Like everyone would have it at some point.
If I'm not mistaken, like pretty high intense athletes, when they go to their like sports therapy and stuff, they also kind of psychoanalyze their dreams. Because they represent their dreams, things that they might not be able to do in their careers, or the opposite, when they have like a very fulfillment career, then it could be like the fears they have from the careers they've been going through with it, right? So this could be one of the theories of how like dreams are analyzed. So it's not about like the amount of information that the human is going through day by day, but it's about like the feelings that they have and the wishes that are not fulfilled during the amount of information retrieving day by day. Fuck.
But did you exhaust your?
No, it made me think. Like, then if dreams are everything that you're not be able to fulfill, but then what would be a wish that you would like to fulfill? It could be like a very big wish, right? It could be like, I want to become a multimillionaire, so then all of a sudden you only dream about money? Or like how could this be like, or then you dream of the anxiety of working and having the money, and then like the anxiety, this feeling of anxiety, this anxious feeling that you're having from the dream, it could be like the reason behind it is that it's interpreted that your desire of accumulating so much wealth is persecuting you even in your dream.
Well,
I think with any
it's a shadow. Aslan?
Shadow work.
Yeah, I was just saying, like with any theory, it's not gonna reveal everything. Like it's not gonna tell you the whole picture. It's just one aspect of dreaming that it there are some dreams that are wish fulfillments, definitely.
What I
Yeah.
what I wanted to say is, like, for example, this feeling that you wanna have wealth, you wanna reach like a successful stage in your life. If you're dreaming about it, I think it's also one of the not necessarily oppressed things, but it's a shadow aspect because it could be insecurity. For example, if you have financial insecurity, then you're thinking about this whole thing. It's a fear. So it manifests itself in a dream that you're thinking that much about reaching that level of money. When I was thinking also about the thing that you mentioned, for example, the athletes, that they need to do like some dream therapy or something like that. I'm thinking about it. If you're having dreams that you cannot really understand, it could be an obstacle in the things that you want to reach. For example, if you have a pattern of dreams that you cannot interpret and you're like, why the fuck I have these dreams? And the feeling also, to remember the feeling, because it's an important point. If the feeling that you have after these dreams, for example, if it's guilt, shame, like being afraid, you feel that you need security afterwards or some kind of reassurance, then it's probably something that you should work on and try to analyze. It's again like the shadow manifestation when something happens in public and then you don't react, and when you go home, I should have done this, I should have done that, and you have this guilt and shame, kind of.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna throw another example, like I did on the other one before, with a traumatic experience. There's people that tend to redream the same dream over and over. And just like on a daily basis, or on a nightly basis, their dream just changes a little bit day by day. But it's kind of the same dream constantly. It's just a little tweaks here and there. And it's like the brain's work on this trauma that they have, and it's this wish to overcome it. or this wish to like maybe just accept it, this desire to accept what had happened, but your mind refuses us to. So it's the constant dream and the constant feeling that could be sadness, anger, anxiety, could be, like frustration. And it's repetitively day by day, day by day, day by day. This could be also one of these, like, for example, dreaming like theories, because it's like this wish of overcoming this fear, right? Of just letting go with it. And it's intense. It is quite
The
intense to have
the
like
fact
a
the
dream
fact that you
recurring.
have the fact that you have a repetitive dream could also come with a good feeling. Like maybe you enjoy that specific dream, that you think about it and you kind of want to put it on a loop. It depends again on the feeling. Like if you have a bad feeling about it, maybe it's something that you should work on or address. For example, if you're feeling, sorry, if you're dreaming about the same character over and over, maybe there is something to address with that person. For example, the fact that it's holding a lot of mental space in your brain. But at the same time, if you're having the same dream experience over and over, and that happens in your dream, and you try to, and maybe it's related to lucid dreaming, because at some point if you have control over your dream, you can also like navigate yourself through making it what you actually want. I don't think you can do it fully, but you can change some pieces in the dream itself. But yeah, it could
That,
be
that's
repetitive because you enjoy that kind of experience. I don't know.
that's interesting. And honestly,
Aslan looks
I
very
just
confused.
want to. Yeah. Do you want to add something?
Dreams, I know that they always serve a compensatory function. So usually, if something, for example, I always have this thing where if I see some person, like my mom comes and visits me, for example, and I see her every day for however long she's here, and then she leaves, I'm gonna see her in my dream probably in the next couple of days. Because my brain is trying to compensate. It's trying to there is like your normal and now it changed and now your brain is gonna you're gonna see your mom in your dream basically, like in my case. Or like it happens all
Damn,
the
that's
time to me when I have some normal. You have
that's
some
very
normal
interesting.
and then it stops and then you're gonna dream about it basically, and then it's gonna normalize but it's trying to compensate kind of,
So
so
it's
usually dreams always. Yep.
sorry, I'm trying to jump in. So it's like you get used to a kind of experience or behavior, and the fact
Yep.
that you're used to it, for example, let's say for more than a month, then your brain gets used to, for example, in your case, seeing your mother. So the fact that it just comes at a certain point that like you don't see her anymore, it's like your dream is helping you
Mm-hmm.
adapt. Like even though you don't see her in the first few days, you can still see her in your dream, and that
Yep.
compensates a bit the fact that you're not seeing her anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah,
a,
yeah.
like a kind of
Yes.
adaptability.
This is actually a commonality that people that go through a loss experience. When people that lose someone close to them, they tend to see him, her, or whatever in their dreams constantly afterwards. Like, and it could last for a long time. Like it could be someone that a widow or an orphan or
Mm-hmm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
like they will continue to dream with their parents or with their husband or with their wife, like even 7, 10 years afterwards, because the feeling is so intense that it stays there. And then like,
Mm-hmm.
like I think this was more common, that your grandmother used to say like, your grandfather visited me last night. He
Mm-hmm.
says hi and this kind of stuff, and it's like your grandmother's like experiencing in her dream the visit of her husband.
Yeah, I guess depending on how intense was the initial normal,
Yeah.
you're gonna keep seeing this person in your dream,
And also,
basically.
if you're used to having like constant daily communication with someone and then all of a sudden it's cut, your brain is not
Yeah.
ready to let go.
Yeah, like for example, and also a thing is like, for example, I rarely see my girlfriend in my dream when she's here. But if she leaves for a week or 2 weeks, I
It's
will
an
definitely see her in my dream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, definitely. So
That's
Is your
very interesting
subconscious trying
because
to
I
tell you
don't
something?
I don't think I experienced this dream. Like I don't recall because I moved to different places many times and I know that I miss some people
Mhm.
sometimes, but I don't believe that I had the same experience with any of the characters that I met in my life.
That you remember.
That I remember, yeah. Yeah, but it's interesting
Let's
in the
not
sense of
forget.
we also like as different individuals and characters, we also have maybe different dreaming needs than other
Yeah.
people, for example.
No, and then dreams they tend to get forgotten, or like the dream tend to be distorted by the mind in like after the first 15 minutes when you awake.
Mm, yeah.
So I'm gonna discuss this later when it comes to a dream journal, but now that we're talking about it, it is very important if you have a dream journal and you want to do a dream journal, to one of the first things you do when you wake up is to write your dream down, exactly as you remember it,
Mm.
because
Yeah, as soon as
as
possible.
soon as possible, because 30 minutes after you will already remember half of your dream. An hour after you might not remember any of the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So
But the
it
ones
is
the
It
ones
slips
that
away
come
literally.
the ones that come with intense feelings, they always say remarkable. It's like exactly like life events.
Yeah.
You cannot think about everything
yeah.
in your childhood, but when it comes to traumas, they're crystal clear in your mind that like some stuff happened.
But you don't remember the totality of the dream, though. You remember the intense part of the dreams as well.
Okay, that's a good question. For how long? How long is the average dreaming process, for example? Because that's something I don't know. I know that it's short. I know that it comes at the end of the sleeping pattern. Like it's not maybe in the middle. It's before you wake
No,
up
it
somehow.
comes with the REM. It comes during the REM activity of the sleep, which
REM usually lasts like
The
what, like
the
three
REM is
hours?
like
Like it's not that long. Deep
but
sleep, right?
is the
it's
is the
REM is
rapid
the
eye
second stage,
movement
no?
stage. I don't remember in the sleep cycle. I remember is the one where like dreams actually come through, and it's not in the beginning of the
Sleep
of
cycle.
the sleep cycle, and it's not at the end, but it's closer to the end, if I'm not mistaken. That's something that we could discuss as well
Okay,
later
I
on.
just looked
Um,
into it. At times, dreams may occur during other stages of sleep. However, these dreams tend to be much less vivid or memorable. The length of a dream can vary. They may last for a few seconds or approximately 20 to 30 minutes. That's not short as I was expecting it.
but
20 or 30 minutes, that's
the
quite some
when
time.
you remember it, or like
No,
the
no, no.
lapse,
That's
the
no, no,
time
no.
lapse.
That's dreaming. That's the process of you dreaming. It could be either few seconds or between 20 minutes or and 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
It's also like in my experience is weird because I can be asleep, I have a dream, I wake up because I need to go to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom, come back to bed, go asleep. I have another dream. I wake up like 3 hours later because I need to go to the bathroom again, or
Mm.
the neighbor made a noise or whatever, and then I go to sleep and I have another dream. So I don't. That's
You
my
should drink
experience.
you should drink less water.
Yeah, I know. I like to stay hydrated during the night
Nice.
time. Oh my god. Let's jump over the third theory group that we're discussing. It's called, this one is the one that you're gonna like. Is the cognitive theories of dreaming. Dreaming through the cognitives. Cognitive theories of dreaming cover the ideas that dreams have important psychological functions and they help people solve ongoing problems they face. Dreams relate to the status of our ongoing needs, and dreams function to assimilate new data and reorganize related memories. So basically, everything that we've been like kind of discussing about like the trauma dreams that you have and this type of feelings in the dreams like going to this category as well, which is like there's a reason why like this dream is coming to you, is like experiencing this cognitive behavior in your conscious day by day, and you cannot assimilate it during like your awaking hours, so you have to go through the nighttime. And also, this is important because I gave this example in my life before, that it reorganizes like memories. When I said about the traumatic experience I had, that my mind like suppressed it and I had to go through a dream to remember it. This is exactly basically in that category that happens. But at the same time, as we said before, memories are not that
Trustworthy.
trustworthy. Thank you, because memories change during the time, and as I said, like during like murder cases or criminal cases, when it comes to an eyewitness, the longer the time passed through the crime scene, then a white witness becomes less veridic to the case because the memory gets distorted by its own individual. If you want to talk about like
Yeah, I wanted to
say,
say
jump in.
I wanted to say something quickly. It's very interesting with the memories because even the way, for example, if I ask you a question, and there was this research that was done on witnesses of some accidents, like when they ask them when the accident happens, they have an answer, and then when they ask like in a week or two, the
The
answer
answer
is
is
kind of
different, right?
less intense. And even the way they
Yeah.
measure, for example, they were like, okay, how on a scale, I don't know what was the scale, but how would you measure if this person was very fast before if they say, for example, before the accident, or before car A crushed car B. If you hear the word crushed, even your memory gets manipulated a bit that he was going very fast. Like your answer would be,
Yeah.
car A was very fast when he crushed car B, for example. So
Yeah.
the phrasing of the question, even if you're asking about the memory, could make you change some elements in the memory itself.
Good,
Plus,
and
there
that's
is
also the
time. Time also affects memories.
yeah, of course, and then the life that has gone through the time as well. But then that becomes the thing. How would you trust your own memories? Well, that's another podcast, I suppose.
That's
But
yeah.
it becomes like
That's the
that.
answer of one of the next episodes. We should have one about memories as well.
Yeah, because that's well, dreams and memories are integrated. They go back hand by hand. Um, but it's weird. Would you trust more a feeling of a dream or the feeling of a memory?
A memory is something you witnessed yourself and you lived. The fact that a
But you
dream,
think that you witness.
the the fact that a dream is hard to interpret makes it easier for you to trust a memory than a dream, or the
Yeah,
feeling that you
most
had
people trust memory.
from a memory.
No, no, and but think about it. If memories get distorted during time and memories get changed even by your own self, how would you trust a memory more than a dream when a dream comes from the feeling that your unconscious is having about a memory that you don't recall exactly as it happened?
You don't recall it
Then there
exactly, but it was there was a conscious process of you observing what's happening and gathering some data. But in the dream, it's your unconscious that it's throwing that on your conscious. So the unconscious is quite uncontrollable in that sense. You're not very sure what's happening. Again,
But
it could be symbols. If you're actually hiking, maybe it's the pursuit, or you're trying to reach something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're hiking. Whereas when you're doing
but
something
haven't you?
and you're conscious, it's not that symbolic. If you're hiking, it means you're hiking. You're having it like a hike.
Yeah, but
Do you
the
get what
thing
I'm
is
saying?
also like in your yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me
But
adjust this a
also,
bit.
there's two things I want to discuss. When you're experiencing something, at the same time, you're not entirely truly there because your mind is kind of somewhere else and kind of there. You're not entirely living in the moment, at least in this Western side of the world, or majority of people, because our minds are complicated and they're just like you're spinning. So the memory that you have is only from the focus attention that you're giving this exact moment, not the entirety of what is going on. And so the memory per se is not 100% of what happened to begin with. And two, there's also the saying that I have this memory like if it was a dream. So we're already putting old memories, we're already putting them in the same category as dreams because they become so vague that you kind of vaguely remember or you kindly remember it as a dream. So what would you trust more, a dream or a memory?
Yeah, so if you take, for example, let's say you take dreams, because they're based on actual things that are happening in your daily life.
That happened.
That happened, yeah. Yeah. So it's because the normal view is that they are made up fantasies.
Dreams,
Like,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the normal default people's view, most people's default view. Maybe now it's less because people are getting into spirituality nowadays. But there was a time where like almost everyone's like, yeah, it's just probably some bullshit.
But before it wasn't.
Yeah.
So as we discussed before, it was dreams were religious
Yeah,
dreams.
they meant something.
Meant something.
Important.
Then they got lost, and now
Yeah.
we're going back into it, the interpretation of dreams.
Exactly.
The same as Jordan Peterson said that they're not random fucking acts
Yeah,
of the mind. So
Yeah, because it's based on the real things, and your memories, as you also mentioned, is something that can get distorted. So I'm 100% sure that yes, like memory is it's just as fragile as a dream is.
exactly. That's
I
what I wanted
have to disagree.
keep going.
I think it's not. They both cannot be fully trusted, but I think you can trust more a memory than a dream. That's from my
It's because you don't
my
trust
own
a dream,
perspective.
Medhi. You trust the feeling that you had in the dream. You don't trust what you saw in the dream. You trust what you felt in it, and the feeling is like the truth in it. Everything else, as he said, is a bunch of images and symbols thrown at you for you to be able to interpret better what you're feeling at the moment.
Well, also it's the same thing with memories. You also remember how you felt about one of the memories. For example, when it comes to traumas, you don't think about it like logically, or if you have a PTSD, you think about how you felt when something happened. And if the feeling is truth, then it's exactly the same thing. Also the same thing with dream. Dream becomes a memory as well. So if you're thinking about your dreams, you're digging into your memories. So it's exactly the same thing. But for me, my argument is when you experience something on a conscious level, then you gather some data. Obviously, it could be changed with time, or the way you felt. For example, if I'm having an experience with you guys, then I don't know. It's the same experience that we're having now. But let's say in 5 years I have an issue with Aslan, but I'm cool with Adriano. It might change in my mind that, Aslan was all the time, doing something bad, for example, because it's based on a feeling.
Yeah, your
So
perspective.
the memory could be changed with time based on how we feel. But again, it's not fully accurate, but it happened. This happened. If it's a memory, I believe that on a conscious level, I lived this experience, and I can think about the conscious level that I had looking at the laptop, for example, the visuals, and me processing this. It could be changed, but it's more relevant than me trusting a dream. That's my argument. And we can agree to disagree.
All I'm thinking about right now is that I can't trust myself.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like we're just going through this world trying to figure out all of this information that is thrown at us, trying to put it into a context, but then what the fuck do you believe and trust? That's the issue, right? Okay. Now let's jump to the next topic.
Let's go.
Okay, so before we talk a little bit about lucid dreaming, right? We just wanted to add it as an extra spice on this episode. So I will go again through the definition of lucid dreaming. It occurs when the dreamer is aware that they are in a dream and that they are able to control events within that dream, whereas regular dreaming often includes symbols and narratives that are generally outside of the dreamer's control. So in simple words, lucid dreaming when you are dreaming, and then you become aware that you're dreaming, and you become conscious on your dream.
Do you have in
And
the
you can
definition
control
if
the
it's like half aware or fully aware of what's happening? Because I
fully
think you're
aware.
both sleeping and aware, no? Because if you're fully
No,
aware, then you're
it's
actually not sleeping. You're awake.
no, because you're fully aware of the in the dream. It's like the difference between astral projection and then lucid dreaming. That astral projection is like basically when you on a awaken on a very awakened status, you literally like get yourself an out of body experience.
Like some kind of
While when
transcendence.
dreaming is, yeah, this is very spiritual and stuff like that. Whoever is interested, you can do more research about it because there are techniques of how to do both of them. And then lucid dreaming is when you go to sleep, and during the sleep you become aware. Like your unconscious becomes conscious in the sleep.
Hmm.
You know,
Did you have an experience with lucid dreaming? Asking you both.
I have had a couple of experiences. They have lasted very little
Yeah.
because I think my mind got like freaked out that I actually realized I was on a dream.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I had an interesting one. I have this regularly. It's not like super regularly, but like commonly it
Right.
happens, and it's the same thing. Whenever in the dream something dangerous is about to happen to me, I can pause the dream like a game.
That's cool.
Like I think maybe the feeling of not wanting to, maybe like if someone's chasing me or I'm about to die or something, and I feel like this is I think maybe it's so intense, the feeling, that I can just make it like pause. Like I literally just pause and I'm like, okay, I'm safe. And
But how do
probably
you
then I can
pause?
wake up.
What does it happen when
I,
you pause the event that is happening? For example, you're running, and then you pause.
I
What's that?
imagine I imagine a game. Like you know how in a game you can just hit pause?
Ah, okay. That's how
Like
you
Yeah.
feel
just
about
hit
it.
pause.
Interesting.
It's like
Okay.
I literally just I think I use that mental construct to do it. Like a game. Like I literally just pause. Like I imagine I think of pausing a game. Like and I just pause it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like, oh, this is too much for me, pause, boom, and then you're
There you
like,
go.
okay, this is just a dream.
From
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. It's like
experience, I had lucid dreaming with dreams that I like really enjoyed. Like they were really entertaining for me, and I feel that, I wake up out of anxiety that this dream might end. Like I'm aware that it's a dream and I'm kind of controlling what's happening. And then
mm-hmm.
I hate it when I wake up because I was enjoying the dream.
Mm.
But I never had lucid dreaming with dreams that I didn't like. Like for example, Aslan's experience, like he was running and then
Yeah.
he thinks about like posing and then it actually happens. But for me, when it comes to bad
Yeah.
dreams, it's like I have no control over them until I wake up. When it's an interesting dream that I actually enjoy, it's like I have a character to play and I think that I can also change
Uh,
some pieces in the dream
I
itself.
think I think I can I think maybe I do that too sometimes. I think yeah, if it's something very interesting to me, I do that too, where I try to like control, like I want to be in it more, like
Mm,
kind of
mm.
I don't know.
You want to live it more. You want to experience
Yeah.
it more.
Yeah,
But do you
exactly. So
feel
you're
that
like
it's a dream? Like, do you realize that you're actually dreaming
yeah,
when that happens?
I think so because I think so. I think yeah, for me yes, I know that it's a dream. I
I
think
think
I'm
same.
half awake
Yeah.
as well. Like I half wake up or something. Like
That's what happens to me.
yeah,
Like the times that have happened is that I realize I'm dreaming, and then it's like, okay, this is a dream, time to wake up. And you're
yeah,
like, no.
Fuck.
yeah. And then you can actually go back.
Yeah. No, I haven't been able.
You haven't been able.
No, it
Okay.
has been just randomly like 2 or 3 times that I'm in different dreams, and I was like, I see my hand, and it's just like all weird,
Uh,
and then it's like, okay, this is a dream, and then it's like, okay, and I just see around the dream, and it's like, okay, this is a dream, time to wake up.
Sometimes if it's very interesting dream, I just like I can go back to it, where and the way I do it is like if I woke up a little bit, I can just like if I'm turning in bed or something, I can just think about the dream, close my eyes, and I can kind of go back to it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that maybe tells you that it's kind of thinking, cognition. It's like like you're thinking while you're sleeping. So that's
Yeah.
how you can slip into it, at least for me. Just think about the dream, close your eyes, and you can go back into it.
Dude, that's cool. I think one of the techniques, one of the many techniques, one is like to think about the previous dreams. That's why you need to like if you want to constantly have lucid dreamings or stuff or work to have lucid dreamings, it's recommended to have like a dream journal where you write your dreams, and then
Yeah.
it becomes it becomes more apparent that you're remembering your dreams, like your conscious is working on remembering your dreams, so it's easier for you to
Because
jump into
the reason why I can jump in back, I think then, is because it's very fresh and I'm not disturbed.
Yeah.
So I can really concentrate my mind on going back into it. But if I wake up more, like awaken myself more, then the dream slips away. So then I can't really think about it
Yeah.
anymore because I'm already awake fully. And I guess in that sense, writing it really helps, because if you write it, then you can, I guess, revisit it later.
Yeah.
Kind of. So then you can keep dreaming.
They
like
say
that.
like putting an alarm clock at 3 or 4 in the morning just to wake you up, like turn the alarm clock off and go to sleep. It will help you like go into like the lucid dreaming stage.
Oh, really?
That's one of the theories. Also,
Okay.
like they say that if you put like something on your hand, this actually happened to me. I used to put a triangle in my hand, like by pen, and then just like look at it randomly, like random days, random times during the day, like 5 to 10 times, and just say like, is this a dream? Is this a dream? And then like one time you're dreaming, you're seeing the triangle is not static, it's moving around. So then it's like, is this a dream? And your conscious reacts and it's like, yeah, it's a dream. And there's many other ways you can do your research. There's many ways that might actually work for you or not. That will be up to you, amazing viewers
And amazing listeners.
and amazing listeners. Thank you. Yes, thank you for reminding me about that.
Okay, quick question. What happens when you stop dreaming? When you don't experience dreaming anymore?
Well, according to Freud, that was the best way of sleeping, of having rest.
Really?
When you didn't have a dream, when you were like a dreamless night. By the
Really?
way, thank you for
No, but
reminding me.
I heard, because I think, well, I saw Jordan Peterson talking about dreaming, and he said like it's a concern if you spend a long time not experiencing any dream at all. When I looked into some research, they said like it's not really a concern if you stop dreaming for some time. So I'm not really sure how dreaming plays a role into like day-to-day life or like normal life for a long period of time, or does it kind of represent that like you're good with your shadow aspects, like your unconscious is not trying to send you any messages, or maybe you're draining your mind thinking and calculating everything during the day, that when you go sleep, like your mind just wants to rest. Like your mind doesn't want to transmit any other messages. I'm just thinking about the possibilities here.
I think it's a very, I agree with what Jordan Peterson says. I'm sure it's a Jungian argument as well, but
Yeah,
I think it's a very I think it's not good, because to be honest, there's that, but then there's also like, I haven't really read about this much, but I know that like how do you know if you're forgetting all your dreams or you're not dreaming, like,
That's also
because I think everyone dreams, even
Even dogs?
if you say yeah.
even dogs and cats dream.
If you say you don't dream, you just don't remember it, most likely.
Yeah,
Not necessarily. I think because sometimes you remember that you had a bad dream, but you cannot recall what was the dream. But
Yeah,
if you
but-
don't remember that you had any dreams, like on a daily basis, you wake up and you're like you're trying to think about it. Today I like, while sleeping, I didn't have any dream, and it happens like every day.
Do you think about it?
Huh?
Do you think about it? Like, do you
I
like
think
throughout the day say, "Oh, I didn't have a dream," or
no, not throughout the day. When you notice that you didn't have any dreams for like 2 weeks, then you start kind of expecting that something would happen. And if every day you wake up with no dream, especially if you think that it's relevant, then you think about it more, because some people wouldn't notice if they don't know, for example, that it's an actual concern if they don't dream. Maybe
I mean,
they wouldn't
also
even assess themselves in that sense. Go, Adriano.
that also, uh, for example, when you drink alcohol, you tend not to dream because
oh yeah,
it doesn't allow your like part of the brain to activate the dreaming stage.
so because you don't go into deep sleep.
Also,
That's why.
so also that will depend on. It could be measured that dreaming is healthy, and not dreaming could be that there's something wrong going on with your whatever. So that could be one of the things that might be important to take into consideration when it comes to dreaming. I don't know what to say about like when you go like in long stages of not dreaming, because I have never experienced that in my life. I think the only times I have not dreamt is because I was drunk.
Could be also, if you look at it from a scientific perspective,
Yeah.
that could be it. You just don't go into REM. Like
Yeah.
you don't have REM.
You're not having very nice sleep.
And
You're
that's
not going
something
deep sleep.
could be health related.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be
And,
some kind of
could
like
be
lack
health.
of melatonin, for example, the fact that you're not getting quality sleep, so you don't go to that stage. Could be
Exactly.
biological, yeah, could be both biological and psychological.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's never one straight answer for anything.
Yeah,
There's
we're
always
just
like a
exploring.
One answer.
yeah.
just
There's always a
exploring.
group of things, but it is an important question to ask. To be honest, to ask yourself. Anyone wants to jump into another ramification of this beautiful topic?
I think we explored many aspects.
I think
Nothing
we've
from my side.
I
done
do
good. Do you
I
have
do
anything?
want to say something just to
Yeah.
close this beautiful thing. Where is it? Da, 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 da.
Find it before you say
Here.
that you want to say something.
So I even wrote it down. So yeah, I just wanted to remind viewers and listeners the following. If your dreams are disturbing you, if they're contributing to another mental concern such as anxiety or post-traumatic stress disorder, or if you're simply interested in deciphering the psychology of dreams, dream therapy may be a good option. So don't think about dream therapy like there's something wrong with you necessarily. It could be a way of getting to know yourself better. Like I personally believe that therapy is always good for you because it's a way of navigating in this world, trying to not only understand the external, trying to understand the internal. Dream therapy could be a really cool way of doing so.
Definitely.
Very
Dream interpretation
thoughtful.
is one of the
Yeah,
dream interpretation is one of the best ways to access contents of your unconscious.
to figure yourself out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
trying to figure yourself out. Like we have talked in many other episodes about like being aware of your behaviors, being aware of your bullshit, being aware of your shadow work, and doing the shadow work, being aware of these type of things. Also, this is a way of being aware of this little way that you don't want to. And we have so many good tools, from meditation, from right now this topic, dream interpretation, from the Jungian aspect of shadow working that we've been sharing with you guys. I hope some of them have actually resonated with you and have helped you in many ways, as they have helped me at least. So I think we just wanted to put that out there.
Very good recommendation,
if-
Adriano.
Yeah. Good way to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the same as other episodes, please leave your comments below. Ask us any questions. We'll answer them as best as we can and go through with you in the best way possible as well. We wish you always the best of the best and see you on the next one.
Thank you,
See you
everyone.
guys.
All right, good stuff. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was nice.
I like the discussion we had this time. It was
Yeah.
very more like within ourselves, and I really felt like